but we're going to talk about the one and only Red Hood, obviously. And we're going to be going over his pressure and his defense. So we're going to start. We're going to start with his pressure. Set him to block. Alright, so basically with Red Hood, the pressure that he does a lot of the time is either mixed from straight or his stagger strings. And he's got a lot of good things to stagger with. He's got standing 2, he's got 2-2, he's got 3-2, he's got 3-2-3, he's got 2-2-3. You know, you can stagger forward 2 and back 1, you can stagger back 2. So, yeah, he's got a lot of that, a lot of the staggering going on. And basically the idea behind his staggers is you're going to want to condition them a lot with 2-2 and 3-2. 2-2 as a gap that you can backdash, and so does 3-2. So if we set him to reversal backdash, as you see, he backdashes that, and he backdashes that. However, against a lot of the cast, what you can do is you can just do 2-2, bait the backdash, get a full combo, you know, into whatever ender you want, into whatever kind of oki you want to get after that. It's really up to you. Same thing with 3-2-3. Do 3-2, catch the backdash. You know, so it's kind of a scary mind game, honestly, because if they backdash that and you catch them, well, you know, they take the full combo, and if they don't backdash it, you know, they eat that, they eat the low, which, you know, that one is a little less scary, simply because it's not that, like, the frame data on 2-2-3 is not great. It's -7. Okay, so basically, learning a new character, it just takes time, honestly, especially if they're like as hard as Red Hood. But as I was saying, you know, 3-2-3 is definitely his scarier stagger, simply because 3-2-3 is plus on block. So if you do 3-2, catch the backdash, they either eat the combo because you decided to. They eat the combo because they decided to backdash, or they eat your plus frames, which you can, you know, play around with. 3-2-3, and it gets absolutely absurd in the corner, because when they start reversal backdashing in the corner, you know, like, yeah, it's still gonna backdash that, but if you do 3-2, you catch backdashes with anything in the corner. So they backdash the plus strings, you do that, you know, but if they don't backdash, you know, you get these plus frames. And it creates a really just kind of oppressive corner game. And even then, like, if they're not backdashing the gaps and strings, they're still expecting the full string. So if you do 2-2, they're expecting the low. So you can just throw in like a standing 3 or down 1. You know, same thing with staggering standing 2 and 2-2. Which, if you understand how staggers work, then it's a pretty simple kind of game. But you really want to be staggering 3-2 and 2-2 the most, because those are the ones with the gaps that you would want to bait a backdash out of. Most people aren't going to backdash this because there's no point, but this is definitely the stronger one with 3-2-2. And after that, you know, you also have trait staggers, which are a little trickier because they don't have really good frame data. Like 3-2 is -7, which isn't great, but it's the whole mentality of you're waiting for this. So, you know, that makes sense. However, And -7, not really anyone can punish it, and if they can, it's like a 1-frame punish. Unless it's a reversal, but you know. For the pressure on trait, for the stagger pressure on trait, it basically accentuates the strengths in his stagger pressure. So if they're not backdashing or poking after 2-2, right? That means you have free range to actually be able to do 2-2 traits. Usually you can poke out a 2-2 trait. If they backdash, then you'll actually just completely whiff. As you can see here. Oh. Never mind. I'm wrong. It doesn't whiff. Which makes your 2-2 a 50-50, essentially. Between 2-2-3. Or 2-2. Sometimes it catches backdashes, sometimes it does not. But you get the idea. 3-2. These ones will catch backdashes. If done properly. But as you can see, like, back 2 will not. You can do a trait shot. No, you can do a delayed trait shot. Or do back 2-3. Which sometimes will again catch backdashes, sometimes they won't. So yeah, you get your 2-2, you get your 3-2. Got your traits that will catch backdashes. However, there's some things that you can play with. You do have them off backdash, right? Okay, yeah. There's some things that you can play with outside of just, you know, the regular 2-2s and the 3-2s and the catching backdashes with the trait kind of thing. There's something that I have yet to use a lot, but it definitely has some things you can play with, which is 2-2 trait cancel. It recovers pretty fast, and if they're conditioned to just hold the mid afterwards and eat the gas, this can catch them off guard, like, a lot. Because it does recover, like, relatively fast. However, it is not safe, like, at all. You will get full combo punish if they're expecting that, so don't use it too much. But it's definitely an idea that you can play with. I still need to play with it a little more, but it's something to look out for. Especially if you use it on the string that, you know, doesn't have a gap. Like, if you do 1-1 into trait, there's no gap that they can try and abuse there, so they can... Well, they will simply be holding block because they don't want to eat the follow-up. So it's really good after jump-ins. You do jump-in and then 1-1. And then you can either press a button, grab, do whatever. Oh, and remember, in your staggers, grabs are your best friend. No staggers getting to grab. 3-2, grab. 3-2-3, grab. You know, stuff like that is definitely a thing that you want to be looking out for in your stagger pressure. You want to open them up, make them scared of grab options and catching backdashes. The second part of this pressure out of the staggers is, at least as far as midscreen goes, we'll talk about the corner stuff a little later, but the second bit of his midscreen pressure would be the amount of chip this character does. If you look at his health, it's like, that's a good amount of chip. It's like, oh, obviously not as much as Aquaman, but it is a good amount of chip. And you're only -1 after that, and it puts you at a decent distance, where standing 3 will hit, right? I mean, some characters will tag you for, you know, trying to press buttons afterwards, but since you're only -1, a lot of mids that would, like, run into you will get checked by your 7-frame down one at that point. Because your down one's usually 6 frames, after -1, it'll be 7. And that still beats out a lot of mid checks. So, essentially, it's only kind of plus. It's really weird. It's the same idea with, like, Liu Kang's that down 1 after windmill punch. in MKX. But yeah, -1 is not a lot of minus. It's actually a better example would be Superman. His breath is only -1, so he has a lot of room to play with at that frame data, because 1 frame difference doesn't mean a lot for the things that you would want to be doing. It's also like playing around with being 0 on block. So yeah, that's mid-screen. You're gonna want to be staggering a lot. You know, getting your grabs in there, getting your chip damage in your meter build. You know, having the mix-ups on trait helps a lot too. Other than that, you want to be playing the spacing game. That's not really his pressure. Like, he does have pressure. It's just a lot different than other pressure characters, because you're not playing with a ton of plus frames. You're playing more with the idea that your opponent is expecting you to do something, and you know that. So you make the read, and you blow them up for it. So that's his mid-screen stuff. In the corner, he gets kind of just insane, honestly. Like, his corner game is kind of gross. So, first off, his back 2-3 becomes a launcher in the corner, which means, like, at this range, well, not at that range, like, at this range, your opponent has to worry about you walking back and doing back 2 on either their wake up or just, you know, when you're playing the pressure game. So they have to worry about that, which keeps them in check from wanting to do anything. And if they get hit by it, you know, they're into an Oki situation, and it kind of hurts them a lot. The other things that you have to worry about, as far as the opponent has to worry about with Red Hood in the corner, is again the fact that reversal backdashes will be caught with anything. So if you do 2-2 and they're like, oh, 2-2-3, you know, you do 2-2, you just do 2-2 again, and then you blow them up for it. Or the one that you're going to be seeing a lot more, 3-2, catching that backdash. You know, and just kind of getting a lot of your pressure that way. So your staggers become really scary. And also at this range, 3-2-3, let me take them off backdash. If they do block the 3-2-3, your down 1 won't whiff, unlike mid-screen where it does whiff. So you get a free down 1 check every time since you're +2. And this jails, which you can make safe, and it does a good amount of chip, and you're at that spacing that you want to be at. So down 1, down forward 3 meter burn is a good tool in the corner, because, you know, it jails, and it leaves you at that space that some characters can't contest with. So when you're doing, you know, your stagger pressure, and you do that, you finally get the plus frames. You know, you do down 1 into the tackle, the meter burn tackle, and again, it'll put you at that space that you want to be at as Red Hood, if not right in the face. So yeah, while they're blocking, you know, they have to hold all this pressure, all the mix-ups. And in the corner, you know, some people can't contest at that range, and there's not a lot of people in the game that can't contest at you know, the range after meter burn trait. But the characters that can't, you know, you can standing 3 check them. And you, again, all of the other things apply. Mid-screen, you know, your down 1 still whiffs, but they can run into the down 1 after meter burn trait. Other thing you can do to play around with the -1 after meter burn trait is, like, you know, jump back gunshots, or backdash, catch whatever advancing button they try to do, you know, stuff like that. Now, what makes the corner pressure really scary is when you actually hit them. So set him to auto. Basically, you get a free mine after every 3-2-3. Now, my close mine is +53 on block. That is so much to play with. Like, an unbelievable. Like, you get jump-ins at that kind of frame data. You get, like if they block that, you know, you do your little thing. You know, they're scared of the landmine. You know, you get the jump in and then... Well, actually, what you do is you do this. You get your landmine. You know, you press buttons during the plus frames, and then when you actually get the plus frames, you can do jump ins. You know, you can do grabs. When you grab, you get that amount of damage free every time, even if they tech it. Usually your throw against Superman is doing 117, so you get 3 more damage, and it's guaranteed as long as they don't, you know, try and stop you. Like as far as, you know, wake up or jump out or something like that. Other things that, you know, you get off of that, you know, after the landmine is like, you know, a lot of hard to blockable stuff if you read their wake up, but also want them to block that. They're not, I have not had a lot of people block that. Other things include stuff like that. You get a free mine. But another thing that you get after 323 for free in the corner is a jump 3. A very meaty jump 3, like you jail standing 3, you can jail standing 3 after that. Like Superman's super doesn't get through it. So it's 100% a block string when it's done meaty enough. So you're very plus after a jump 3. And you can even stuff some characters' wake-ups with it. Like, for example, I will show you Aquaman. This is a matchup that's kind of rough for Red Hood, but he does have options.
Fighters approaching Metropolis.
Especially when he's got him knocked down. It's very hard for Aquaman to move unless he makes a real kind of a ballsy read. So basically, we'll set Aquaman to wake up Trident Rush, because that's the main Aquaman wake up, right? Usually if they're gonna wake up, they wake up with Trident Rush. So if you do this, shit, oh wait, okay. So some characters, the 3-2-3 knockdown is not what you're looking for when you want a medium. Like, see how that kind of whips and kind of awkward, or like, you know, if you got him in a juggle. God. I got him. See, sometimes it whiffs. However, I mean, you get tagged. However, 1-1-2, you know, has different properties, simply because, you know, less hit advantage where the opponent is put when they are hit by the string. So after back 2-3 against Aquaman, if you want to stuff any of his wake-ups, you can do a neutral jump through. And I don't believe he can... Hold on, wait, let me check. We'll test right now if he can down 2. If I remember correctly, I checked this earlier, and he could not down 2 the jump through. Okay, so we can. However, you know, you gotta make the read, etc., etc. Stuff like that. But if you want to stop his wake-ups, you can also, like, you know, put a landmine. The thing, he has a lot of ways to answer wake-ups, and with not really a lot of risk. For example, you know, if you do your normal setup, where you do 3-2-3, landmine, block, you can actually combo after that. Like, you get free... It launches in the corner for free. So you get like a 2-2 and then a 3-2-3, and you can loop it. So it becomes kind of hard for any character, honestly, that doesn't push themselves away from the mine or out of the corner with their wake up on block to really move at all after this landmine is in play. And once you start getting them to respect the landmine, you can start doing some... Like, you can start actually abusing the landmine. So, let's say you get the landmine, you know, hard to blockables, stuff like that. Other than that, you know, like I said, there are some characters where let's say you don't want to... Well, no. There are some characters that just
Red
get
Hood.
stuffed by themselves with the neutral jump 3. Or let's say you wanted to go for a cross-up on
Fate.
Dr. Fate in the corner because you do have
Fighters
some
approaching
ambiguous
Gorilla
cross-up
City.
stuff with Red Hood and your jump 3 and after 323 and 112. So if you're in the corner and you put him on wake up with the Anubis, you know, normal stuff. You do back 2 3 1, back 2 3. You know, you get so you get stuff like that. Play with your enders, you know, see what works for you and what matchups. I've realized that it's not always going to be you want to do 3-2-3 or always going to want to do 1-1-2. It's dependent on the matchup. It's dependent on what you feel is best for the situation. You know, since this has less hit advantage and it puts them in a different spot, as you can see, Fate is in a different spot in the corner. So his wake up will whiff when I jump. However, if I do 3-2-3 and jump, it'll switch. So you want to play with that, see what you want for what matchups. For example, like against Fate, you're definitely probably going to want to do 1-1-2 a lot more because it makes it so that he can't wake up. But again, you also have landmines to play around with and stuff as wake ups. You know, it's a lot like that's most of his corner pressure is either you're staggering them or you're placing the landmine, making them scared to get up at all. Also, your jump 3 is pretty oppressive in the corner because, you know, you got stuff like that. That didn't cross up. Or at least it didn't say it crossed up. See, like, his jump 3 is kind of a really good tool in the corner for his pressure. But, you know, other than that, that's basically the long and the short of it. He can really make it so that you can't get up, essentially. You know, on some characters like Superman, they have rise and grab, but if I place this and then just kind of block, like, you know, I get my 3-2-3 into the landmine, and I just block, and he does rise and grab, I can punish it on the way back. So, he's pretty, like, his hard to blockable stuff is a little more, you have to make the read that they're not going to wake up. But in order to just, you know, beta wake up, you don't really sacrifice a lot because this still has a lot of plus frames that you can play with. So there's a lot of that that makes it so that his corner game is kind of gross. And let's just say, you know, they catch on that you're just kind of, you know, respecting their wake up, trying to bait it or whatever. And they're like, screw this, I'm going to jump out of the corner. Here, let's turn off his wake up so he doesn't do that. So, he places landmine, they jump. Oh, wait, no. Place landmine, they jump. You know, you can air-to-air them, you can anti-air them with, like, back 1 or down 2. If you see that they're starting to jump a lot, you can just... You know, you can just start pressing buttons after the knockdown, and it'll stuff their jump. Because they can't jump out of your meaty at that point. But yeah, that's basically the long and the short of his pressure. You know, he's got the landmines, he's got the hard to blockables with them, and the plus frames. He has his jump 3 that gives him a lot of plus frames. So he has a lot of ways, he has a lot of options in the corner to apply his pressure and, you know, just kind of open up your opponent. So the second half of this little bit that I'm doing is going to be his defense options. Now this is something that, you know, a lot of people have been discussing about him, you know, like what his defense is. You know, all his wake-ups aren't that great, and his parry is kind of slow. And I get that, but he doesn't just have the wake-ups. So his wake-up, if you don't know, his wake-up is this. In the corner, it's really bad. It has 62 frames of recovery, and you're right in their face when you wake up. Oh, well, I'm actually going to talk about that like, in this section. So just stick around. So yeah, his wake up is this. All of those shots are, well, his wake up is this. He can meter burn it to shoot 6 times. All those shots are highs. So you neutral duck on his wake up, and to bait that, and then you just whip punish him because he has 62 frames recovering. Mid-screen, his wake up is not that bad. You know, it builds space, but against some characters you don't really want to build space, such as Superman. So his wake ups become kind of a detriment to him that he doesn't really have one. However, he also has parry, which is a kind of a slow parry. It's only 8 frame. But it will catch people, you know, messing up their meaties. You know, same thing with the low one. But an actually surprisingly decent wake-up tool is down forward 3. It's an 8 frame mid. You know, if they improperly space their meaties, or, you know, they have a meaty where, like, you know, they whiff, or if they just are trying to do too much with their meaty on not enough hit advantage, such as if you do this and then you try to meaty with something that's way too slow, he can blow them up with that. Also, some meter burn forward 3s and back 3s he will blow up with that. So it's actually kind of a decent wake up. Just don't go around using it too much, or else you're gonna get correctly meatied and then blown up for it. So those are his wake ups. This one is honestly his best one, which is really upsetting. But you know, it is what it is. That's his weakness, is that his wake ups are pretty bad. His anti-airs are actually pretty good. You know, he's got the up star to check you jumping in on his zoning, which is, you know, something that most zoners have, a check for jumps. He has his back one, which is a decent anti-air, and his down 2 is 9 frames. It's got a pretty decent hitbox. It's not active for a while, so you have to do it on reaction most of the time. But it's a relatively solid anti-air, and so is back 1. His air-to-air option, you know, he's got jump 1, it's 5 frames. It's got a decent hitbox. It's kind of like Darkseid's air-to-air. Actually, it's almost exactly like Darkseid's air-to-air. It has the same hitbox and the same frame data. So that's going to be your air-to-air option. His dashes are pretty good. You know, you got his backdash recovers decently, but it covers a lot of space. Like, as you can see, we're mid-screen, right? And 1, 2, 3. 3 backdashes on full screen. So he has really good backdashes. His forward dashes, 1, 2, 3. 3, you're back, like 3 forward dashes, you're back in his face. So he covers a lot of space with his dashes, and you know, that helps him a lot for defense and offense. His meter burn roll is actually a pretty good one. People don't know this a lot, but a lot of meter burn rolls are actually different. His covers about the same amount of space as most, and it recovers relatively fast too. It's a pretty good one, and his forward dash being so good makes his meter burn roll a lot better as well. So, like, yeah, you see how it recovers pretty fast. More on the defense side, his down one is a pretty good poke. It has pretty crap range, I won't lie, you know. But it's pretty good on hit. You know, it's plus 11, so you check him with a standing 2 or a standing 3, or another down one and such. So that helps him a lot when you're up close. He also has a good walk back. He has good walk speeds, actually. Like, his backwards walk is a decent walk back speed. It's fast enough to actually be able to cover ground, but not so fast that your opponent doesn't feel comfortable trying to, you know, catch you walking back. So it makes it so that your back 2 is kind of a, you know, more of a threat, because they want to press buttons, but they get, you know, they eat the back 2. His forward walk speed is really fast. Like, that's one of the faster walk speeds in the game. So it's definitely, you know, a good tool. But defensively, you know, his backdash, his backwards walk speed, like, he's got his zoning to keep you out, you know, stay on the defensive. He has back 2 to catch you trying to walk in on him. He has down 1 for up close defense. His back 3, low profile stuff, or low profile some stuff. Like, it can low profile Superman's forward 2 sometimes. And it's 26 frames, which makes it a pretty good, you know, get the fuck off me kind of tool. So yeah, that is definitely another good defensive tool that he has in his arsenal. It's not really good as an offensive meter burn back 3. Neither is the forward 3. His forward 3 is not great for offense either because the frame data on them is pretty bad. Like, meter burn back 3 is -3 on block. I mean, well, back 3 in general is -4 on block. So, and forward 3 is only 0 on block, and it leaves you kind of at a bad range if they block it. Like, so you're down 1 with standing 2 hits and standing 3 hits, but you can't really check a low poke with it from that range. So they're not really good offensive tools, unless of course you're on OP and you're trying to stuff a wake up. But yeah, so that's some of his defense. The last bit of sort of defense that this character has that a lot of people don't talk about is his parry. So Superman, doing his pressure, he's +2 after that, right? You can parry in between the pressure, which is significant because it makes it so that Superman has to think a little more. Which that's not a jab at Superman players. It's just one of his strengths is that his pressure is relatively easy to do. There's not a lot of room for mistake. There's not a lot of chance for error in your play when you do that. So when you have to make the opponent think more about something, it makes them more hesitant, and it gives you a lot more room to breathe. So again, another example is forward 2-3 breath, forward 2-3. It's something that a lot of Superman players do because it's good. If you just parry.
I'm still a good guy.
And remember, the Superman player does have options, but essentially his parry is really good just to deal with plus frames, especially as a reversal, because it lasts a while. So even if the button that they press doesn't hit you, doesn't come at you immediately, they will still probably get caught. Another thing that Superman players like to do is do forward 2-3 trait meter burn forward 3, and you'll still catch the meter burn forward 3 because of the active frames on the parry. So essentially your parry is a very good way to just keep pressure in check. Another character that is pretty decent against some of the times is Black Adam.
Red Hood, Black Adam. Fighters approaching Brainiac.
So, Black Adam has pretty good pressure. He's got the good plus frames. He's got the big buttons. So, when Black Adam does something such as forward 1-2 forward, the trait forward 1-2, it checks them there. If they do 1-1-2 down 1, reversal parry will beat out the down 1. So, essentially for up close game, your parry is not something you want to be using a lot, but it's something you definitely want to remember that you have, because it is a solid tool that you can use to get people off of you, start your zoning again. However, there are characters where you really don't want them to start zoning, and this is actually why, Deadshot's kind of a problem, Superman's kind of a problem.
Fighters approaching Gorilla City.
Red Hood has a very odd form of zoning, where he basically wants to be doing very, weirdly patterned things, like landmine into trait shot, stuff like that. You get his zoning at this point, I would assume. You can use parry as a wake up, but just remember that it is not invincible and that it starts up in 8 frames, so you can get stuffed pretty hard for doing it. So just keep that in mind, assess the situation, see what you should be doing at the time. Now, for Superman, the problem with this matchup, and this is going to just go in general into the full screen sort of, this is going back to his pressure. This is Red Hood trying to get in on an opponent. Basically, the problem against Superman is that, and I can't really record everything that a Superman player will do against you as far as zoning goes, but he's gonna do heat zap a lot. He's gonna do the air laser. You do not have a very good way of dealing with people who like to jump and do a projectile. See, that'll, even if you let's say zap, zap, and then you do that on a read, you'll trade, but he wins the trade every time. So it's really kind of awkward, and especially if he like meter burns it, he'll knock you back, and you have to be very on top, like very on point with your timing on the upstart to actually be able to trade with it. So it's kind of a rough end deal. However, when you have Superman, he does the meter burn laser, and then he does the sweeping laser on your wake up. So let's say, you block that laser. You can check a lot of projectiles, even ones that are plus on block, ones that, characters should be able to frame trap you from full screen. He can do a reversal roll, like a reversal forward tackle, and meter burn it, and be at the perfect range for his back two if it checks them. So, basically, when you're full screen against a zoner, you're going to be wanting to watch out for those moments where it's your time to go and do a meter burn tackle. Because, that's how you get in. You either play the patient game, use your good walk speed to try and go in, your decent jump arc, stuff like that, your dashes. Or, you, against more oppressive zoning. Like, for Superman, you can definitely just kind of inch your way in. But for more oppressive zoning, such as, like, Deadshot or Fate.
Deadshot.
We'll show you Deadshot because he's probably the example you're going to be seeing most of the time when talking about trying to get in on a character. It's a tool that you're going to need to use against Deadshot and zoners that are as strong as Deadshot in order to be able to close the distance. So, we got him full screen. We record Deadshot to do, his normal thing, like meter burn shot into gunshot, right, to check, because that's what he usually does. However, oh crap, he doesn't get a free shot after that, like he does on most characters. If you have a bar, he has to watch out for that. So it's a really good way to keep a lot of zoners in check with this reversal meter burn tackle. Yeah. But characters like Deadshot, they don't really need to do meter burn rifle, so you're probably wondering, what do you do if the Deadshot understands that he doesn't need to be doing that, and is just, doing straight shots and mid shots. You basically need to, make your way in, and react to their options, like what they do. So basically, straight shot, as long as you're either making it whiff or, basically, as long as it whiffs, you're going to be able to inch your way in. However, if you are jumping, which is a valid thing to do because you have a decent jump in. You can jump in between his projectiles relatively well. However, sometimes a Deadshot player will see that and start crap. I don't play the character. He'll jump back. He'll do an air shot. So like, you'll get tagged by that. Better Deadshot players will be able to do it, close to the ground. But you get the idea. They're going to try and check your jump with an air shot. So if you read that they're going to do that, or like you see his feet leave the ground, like if you're not just jumping like a madman and you're like jumping, and waiting, and you see that they jump, you get a free meter burn roll in, and you start your pressure. That's essentially how a lot of the zoning matchups go. Same thing with Dr. Fate.
Red Hood. Red Hood. Red Hood.
Not the right. So same thing with Dr. Fate.
Fighters approaching contact.
He's going to be trying to keep you out. He's going to be spacing you with forward 2. And against Fate, what you can do is, we'll set him, we'll record him. Well, first we'll set this to full screen. Record him. Record him doing this. That's all that is. Now, that's why this matchup's a problem. Is that, he can't, like... You're basically... sometimes Dr. Fate players will get caught with the reversal meter burn tackle after meter burn shots. However, you know, they shouldn't be, which is, you know, something that they'll learn eventually. So you're going to need to have answers to that as well. Another thing, you know, the crap. So yeah, it's kind of a problem for Red Hood. So you're going to want to be jumping, you're trying to build that space. But if, let's say, they do Displacer Orb, you know, you get to check them with Gunshot, or actually punish them straight up on reaction, and you get to jump over the Displacer Orb and you build more space. So you make them kind of worried to do Displacer Orb because of the fear of this 10-frame Fireball. So it's just a lot of patience on your part. You know, using another tool that you can use to kind of mess them up is the air shots. If you space them properly, it'll actually interrupt their zoning. It'll stop your jump arc, which makes, you know, anti-airs a bit awkward sometimes. It makes it so, you know, they think that a projectile that they throw out will actually hit you when it doesn't. It actually ends up, you know, the air shots actually end up tagging them during that projectile. You know, it's just a lot of patience, a lot of jumping. Well, not a lot of jumping, but just a lot of patience, a lot of, you know, trying to make your way in using the tools that you have for the certain matchup. It's very matchup dependent, what you can and can't do. Just always remember that you have this tool, especially if there's, like, you know, kind of a lull in the zoning game. Like if they stop for a second for whatever reason, you can use that opportunity to roll in. Other than that, you know, defensively he's got his so basically overall, he's got his parry. For defense, he's got his parry, he's got his down 1, he's got a decent wake up and down forward 3. An okay wake up mid screen with down back 3, but a terrible wake up in the corner. So his getting knocked down isn't that great for Red Hood. Pressure wise, you know, he's got his staggers. He's got his plus frames from landmines. In the corner, he becomes very scary. You know, he can stagger you very hard, a lot harder than he usually can, bait your back dashes for those plus frames that he's trying to get, make you block the plus frames, get a lot of respect from you, and then when he finally lands that hit, he can start making you have to block things that are very hard to block. He can make it so that, you know, you can't really wake up against him. In the corner, he gets very scary. And overall, it's a very smothering corner game. But mid-screen, he's not, you know, completely smothering. He still has good pressure mid-screen. It's just not nearly as bad as when he gets you cornered. But, you know, who isn't like that in this game? He'll be zoning you like full screen. You know, he'll be trying to keep you out, or maybe trying to get in if it's a matchup like Deadshot or Fate. And essentially, you know, that's what he has. He has a very, very even tool set for basically every point on the screen. He has decent ways of getting in. He has decent ways of keeping you out. He has decent ways of staying in. And he has decent ways to open you up. Other than that, you know, that's basically the character as far as his pressure and defense goes. So